Russell Westbrook out of the NBA. That could be the path that we're heading down. Plus, the Toronto Raptors looking to make a trade with RJ Barrett. I'm Trevor Lane. This is the Basketball Bulletin. Make sure you subscribe right here. We said it before, but 70% of you, the numbers are holding firm. 70% of you watching are not subscribed. Let's fix that and hit that subscribe button. Joining me is Donnie Freeman. Donnie, can you imagine an NBA without Russell Westbrook?
I mean, no, at this point, but that's the harsh reality is that for those guys, I mean, we're not very far from a lot of those guys, from that old guard being gone. It's pretty close. So,
the old guard of old guards at this point. There's Russ is one of a few remaining here, but check out what Jake Fisher had to say about Russell Westbrook and his free agent. Currently still sitting out there in free agency. He was one of my five surprising guys that are still out there in free agency that can really help a team. But take a look at this. I think Westbrook's future is very much in question right now.
Last question from the chat. Any Russell Westbrook updates? We are still waiting to see what other moves could come in Sacramento before the Kings try to bring Russell Westbrook. And that's been the one home all along that we really have looked at for Russell Westbrook. And that's still the home that I have heard earlier this week is the most likely outcome for Russell Westbrook if he's going to be in the NBA at all. Honestly, that's really the only home we've heard for him. So that
Sacramento, if he's going to be in the NBA at all next season. Now, I didn't think Russ was bad for the Denver Nuggets last year, but it sounds like it really is Sacramento or bust. Now, it's always possible that he doesn't start the season on a roster and that an injury happens or a team finds itself needing somebody and then Russell Westbrook joins the team mid-season. But man, that's not what we expected for him. It sounds like it really is now Sacramento, or he's just not on an NBA roster to start the year. That to me, Donnie, that is still, even with the flaws that he has, that is very surprising for the former MVP.
Yeah, and like we've said a few times, I thought he was pretty good for Denver. I mean, within reason, because with Westbrook, you get such a wide array of things that he does well and things that he doesn't do well out there. So within reason, I thought that he was pretty good, and I thought he was solid for them in the playoffs. Took on solid defensive assignments too, and he still got a lot of the athletic tools that made him who he was. But obviously, he's not the player he used to be in several different facets, so he's not going to be anywhere near as coveted. But we've also said that, he's a very acquired taste, for lack of a better term, in that it's kind of hard to find an ideal roster to put Westbrook on. I mean, you need very specific player types around him to really maximize what he likes to do and how he's able to play for you. And then on top of that, if he's going somewhere, he probably wants to play a significant role. He probably wants to play a meaningful amount of minutes. He probably also wants to be on a decent team, which I guess maybe Sacramento is clearing that bar, I guess.
Do they?
I don't know, like, I guess, but I mean, if that's
he doesn't really have a choice
out there,
Sacramento or bust.
Yeah. So like, and then we've questioned whether or not he's okay with potentially coming off the bench behind Schroeder. So there's potential conflict here, but yeah, it's hard to envision an NBA without him. But like I said in the beginning, I mean, a lot of these mid-30 guys and up we're gonna see them start dropping like flies over the next couple of years here, and Russ may be one of those guys at this point.
Now, this was from Grant Afseth said the Sacramento Kings have been trying very hard to trade Malik Monk this offseason, but they haven't found a taker. The Kings have been trying to trade Monk to open up a spot. They don't have a roster spot right now for Russell Westbrook, who's an unrestricted free agent. Sacramento wants to sign Westbrook and bring the former MVP off the bench as its sixth man behind Dennis Schroeder. If we forget contracts, Donnie, I would rather have Malik Monk over Russell Westbrook by a large margin.
That may be a bit of a hot take.
Is it?
At least to the Westbrook fans. But I agree.
Okay, to Westbrook fans. But
at least to the Westbrook fans. But
who would you rather have?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather have Malik Monk, generally speaking. I mean, Malik also has deficiencies. He's a very small, slight guy out there that you need to put a particular type of defender around him. Otherwise, he's going to be a negative on that side. But hyper athletic, great on-ball creator in terms of like, a secondary third guy that you would put the ball in his hands. He's great at creating for himself. Like I would very much like Malik Monk on the team, and he's a good shooter, all that stuff. Like he's able to do mostly anything you want, maybe your sixth man to do in the NBA. And in this case, if I'm Sacramento, you may just be moving him because you kind of don't really have anybody else you can kind of move, right? Like, they should be trying to move on from DeRozan, but I guess they're not there yet. They should be trying to move on from maybe Levine or Sabonis. They're probably not there yet. And they don't want to move on from Murray. They don't want to move on from Ellis or some of these other guys. So Monk kind of by default is the guy that they would have to get rid of. But yeah, this feels like making a move just to make a move for the sake of making a move here. I don't really see the net gain here.
If you could turn Malik Monk into Russell Westbrook on what we would assume would be a minimum contract, there's some significant financial savings there in addition to the long-term salary commitment that you're getting off of. So from that perspective, it makes sense. Purely basketball, if the contracts are thrown out, I would rather have a 27-year-old Malik Monk. But I could see where the Kings could say, if another team wants him, we know the sixth man microwave scorer off the bench archetype is not as valuable as it used to be in today's NBA. So if another team wants him and we can clear that long-term money off the books, maybe that helps us out. Plus, we don't take too far of a step back by getting Russell Westbrook on a minimum deal. He holds us over for this season, and then we can work to pivot next year with a little bit more increased flexibility. That I get that.
Maybe you get an asset back as well. That could be good too.
Yeah, if you can get something back from Malik Monk, okay, that to me that makes some sense. That does make sense. But on the surface, it does seem a bit strange. Now, if they don't trade Malik Monk, then you're in a situation where you bring in Russell Westbrook and you've got all these guys who need the ball in order to be at their best. And I just don't, even if they do trade Malik Monk, I still don't see it working out particularly well in Sacramento. But if you don't trade Malik Monk, this is going to be chaos, Donnie. It's going to be glorious chaos. I'll watch it, but chaos nonetheless.
I would love the super small Darvin Ham-esque lineup with Schroeder and Westbrook. Didn't Darvin do that at one time too?
I'm sure he did.
Schroeder, Westbrook, and Monk out there would be, oh my God.
DeRozan and Levine, and just
DeRozan, Levine. Oh,
you would need, Donnie. You would need 5. Not forget 2 basketballs. You need 5 basketballs in order to keep that group happy. That's what you would need out there on the floor.
But they don't. You were just saying they don't have a spot though, right? So they have to get rid of somebody.
They have to move somebody. They have to move somebody.
I guess maybe it's one of these end of bench guys, like a Terrence Davis, if you have to do something like that potentially. But yeah, like I guess from that perspective on the Monk thing, if you're not really just looking at this season, sure, that could be a thing. And $21 million player option a couple of years from now is not going to be terrible, but I'm not sure that I would like that particularly on Monk as well. So maybe they can get something back for him in terms of not just, the spot being open. Maybe they can get back a couple seconds or something for a team that may need him. But that almost sounds like something you can pull off once you get into the season, when teams see what they do and don't need more so than right now. And that's where that's also a little bit tricky. Like, is Russ going to wait half a season? I don't think so.
He may have no choice.
That may actually be not the worst thing for him either. Maybe he has some lingering injuries. He can rehab longer, and maybe a team is also getting an injury and he's able to slide in and he could come in as you play half the season on a potential championship contender. Like, that may be actually the better case for Westbrook, to be honest. But like we opened the video saying, it's just crazy we're at this point with him in particular. And I expect several guys to be in this situation over the next 2-3 years. But yeah, I mean, if he doesn't have any other options, frankly, he's lucky that Sacramento is trying to play ball with him and really wants him over there. I mean, they opened this offseason saying they wanted point guards. I didn't know they wanted all the point guards, but
all the score first point guards they can get their hands on.
Yep. But like the thing is too, like, don't you just try to reach out to Brogdon first? Like, is he going to Golden State or something? Like, is that kind of where that's at? Because I would imagine he's getting a minimum somewhere. And
so you would rather have Malcolm Brogdon than Russell Westbrook, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's like, the thing is that, like I said in the beginning, Russ is an acquired taste because he's very erratic. He can do some things out there. You're going to get those situations where he's going to throw the ball into the 5th row, and then you're going to have him throw a really nice pass. You're going to have the ball slip out of his hands. Then he's going to play solid defense and get, a strip or something. Like, he's just so herky-jerky back and forth with what you can get from him that I actually value just a steady player. And especially a player that can actually shoot the basketball, because since Russ can't shoot the basketball, you see teams just sag off him, and that really hampers the spacing around him. And that's why I said you need very particular types of players around him. You need 4 other shooters on the floor with Westbrook. So I would rather have a Brogdon or a Monk because of those things. And I would acknowledge that Russ is certainly a better defender than at least Monk by a good chunk, because he's bigger and stronger and able to guard up a bit. And I would acknowledge that, but still, and also a better rebounder. Like, he's got things that make him solid, but
I think it's an interesting conceptual roster building conversation, right? With Russell Westbrook, boom or bust. Like, Russ is going to win you some games. He's going to have big nights where he's going to win you a game. He's going to go off and have 20 plus points, and he's going to make some big plays.
Yeah.
He's also going to have nights where he loses you the game. That's going to happen. He'll make a critical error down the stretch. He'll turn the ball over. He'll miss a layup. Something will happen. He will also, I mean, it's funny, but it's true. Like, he does, right?
His hands, something happened to his hands, man. Remember the Lakers had his hands checked out? But he would literally he would literally get to the rim and just have the ball slip out his hands like on a layup. Like, how does that even happen? And not just once randomly. It just would happen every so often. Like,
and
things
it's
like that.
Loud when it happens, so people remember that.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, that's true. Very loud mistakes. But I wanted, and I tried to throughout this video, be very complimentary. Like, I think, aside from the shooting, I think he can still give you,
for sure,
because he never was much of a shooter and he's gotten worse at it. But aside from that, I think he could still give you solid NBA contribution from the rebounding, the playmaking out there. I don't think we talk enough about his. I mean, he's going to turn the ball over a handful of times, but he's still a really good playmaker.
Meanwhile, you've got Malcolm Brogdon, who is probably neither going to win you games or lose you games.
But that's not a bad thing either.
That's not a bad thing. No, that's just steady. Steady, consistent minutes. That's what you'd be getting out of Malcolm Brogdon. And actually pairing with Dennis Schroeder, I think I'm with you. I think I would rather have Malcolm Brogdon pairing with Dennis Schroeder.
Because Dennis is also very erratic too. Like, he's all over the place. You used to call him an opportunistic passer.
He is. And but part of that too is you've got similar strengths and weaknesses with Russell Westbrook. I mean, Dennis Schroeder he shot better last season, but isn't always known as the best shooter either. So, all right, but the Sacramento Kings are not the only team looking to make a move here. It's also the Toronto Raptors, who I talked about a little bit the other day. And according to Jake Fisher, RJ Barrett is the guy to keep an eye on. Now, the Raptors, they are in on this group that they've got right now. There have been some reports of other executives who were looking to get a role with the club that were not super complimentary of the build that the Raptors have right now. I certainly think you can question their ceiling as a team. I think they're actually going to be better than what they're getting credit for this season. I could see them as like a 6th seed or something in the East. Like, I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. But if they are indeed all in on this group, and you look at the contract structure, you can see the money they gave out to Scotty Barnes, to Brandon Ingram, to Emmanuel Quickly, like to Jakob Poeltl, that would suggest that they do indeed want to keep this group together. But that may mean going in and being a buyer at the trade deadline. And again, according to Fisher, RJ Barrett is the guy they'd be looking to move. In fact, they tried to move him in the Brandon Ingram trade. In order to get Brandon Ingram, they tried to move him in that deal. Instead, wound up trading away Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk because the Pelicans were not interested in RJ Barrett. So the Raptors are a team that we should keep an eye on as a buyer on the market, and RJ Barrett, an early name to watch before the February trade. I mean, technically he could be traded before then, but typically we don't see the trade market really heat up till later on in the year. But let's keep an eye on the Raptors and RJ Barrett as potentially an early trade candidate here out there on the market.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, my just adjacent to RJ, my initial look at this is I don't really care for these books at all. I don't like the way that they've got this laid out. They're paying $80 million between Barnes and Ingram. They've got like 80% of their cap total tied up into Poeltl, Quickly, Ingram, Barnes. Like that's a lot of cap.
It's a lot.
So they're going to need they are going to need these guys to play up and earn the value of these deals. And where Barrett slots into that is, well, he doesn't. Because like I just said, they've got 80% of the cap in 4 other guys. Like you just can't really pay Barrett what he would probably be wanting unless you're looking to go into those aprons and above, maybe even the second, because you still have to fill out the rest of the roster. And that's just looking at next season and not so much the 26-27 season, and not so much the fact that, some of these other guys are going to start making a little bit more money, like Poeltl. He starts picking up like 29, 27 in a couple of years. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know like what they can really do with Barrett. He was good for them for sure last year, but that may be a situation where, because again, I don't know that he's going to be worth $30 million as well. He's going to look at the other guys around him and say, hey, I probably should be making 30 million as well. And you may be better off breaking that into two guys making MLE type money.
That's what I think actually would help this Raptors team. If you had two guys who were solid making MLE money as compared to RJ Barrett. And this is where it bleeds into the conversation about a whole host of other players, all these guys that are in that 30 million range. Would you rather have Tyler Hero or two guys at 14 million? Would you rather have, this will be the Austin Reeves conversation, right? Would you rather have that guy or two guys that are making 14 to 15-ish million? And that I think it's going to matter for each individual player, the quality of that player. Emmanuel Quickley is another guy. Would you rather have him at 32 million or two guys at 15 million? In a vacuum, is Emmanuel Quickley worth 30 million? Maybe. Is Tyler Hero worth 30 million? Okay, maybe. RJ Barrett, maybe. But what does that mean from a roster building perspective? Does that inhibit your depth too much, particularly when we look at the rest of the roster and how it's all put together? I do think if the Raptors could turn RJ Barrett into two guys, that would be a beneficial move for them. But again, I'm not as out on this team as some people are. I think they're going to be better than people are thinking. And RJ Barrett is certainly going to be a guy to keep an eye on. If he was an expiring 30 million, I'd be much more optimistic about him getting traded this year, but I think the Raptors will try.
I mean, he's that next year. He's extension eligible right now, and they haven't done it. So, and I don't think they are. So next year he'll still be extension eligible. I still don't think it's getting done because he's going to be one of those guys, unless he has a really down season this upcoming season, he's going to be one of those guys looking for 30 million and playing hardball and just potentially seeing what he's worth on the open market a couple off seasons from now. So I don't know that they're ready to be paying this roster like they're a championship contender yet. And if that's not the case, then I just don't see where Barrett fits in, because they've already committed elsewhere. And they could certainly try to move somebody else, but Barrett is the odd man out because he is the one that's only got a couple years left. Like, I don't say, for example, Quickley doesn't wind up being worth that. I don't know that a team's going to be jumping to trade for Quickley in an off season or in a season from now if he doesn't prove to be worth that. But you're still, like, these guys are also going to be moving straight into their prime. You're going to be hoping for Quickley and Barnes and Ingram also to be worth this money as time goes on.
And if you're
going up and all that,
and Emmanuel Quickley, the saving grace may indeed be that he's a 32.5 million flat. So by the end of the contract, the percentage of the cap is going to look a lot better than it does right now.
Yeah, it goes from 21 to 16. That's a pretty big jump.
Absolutely. That's to drop down to just 16% of the cap for who you project to be your starting point guard for the foreseeable future. It's not great in this moment, but a few years from now, I think this deal just improves in value. But all right, everybody, give us your thoughts. RJ Barrett, what could the Raptors flip him for on the market? And will Russell Westbrook be on an NBA team at the start of the season? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe right here to the channel. Till next time, everybody. See ya and stay safe.